Heavy rain has led to severe flooding in Greece, Albania and the former Yugoslavian Republic of Macedonia. In one region, troops were drafted in to help rescue villagers and to shore up defences after rivers burst their banks. Bridges have been damaged and homes made unusable, and the forecast is for more to come.
Like hue, the snow varying from light yellow to deep orange, caused by a coating of sand blown in by a cyclone from the Western Sahara, which brought sand all the way from the African desert to Russia.
January going out like a lion, February coming in the exact same way. Not only is there dangerous cold out there, but also a new big snowstorm on the move from the Midwest all the way to the Northeast, where millions are digging out from that record-setting blizzard.
100 million people are in the path of today's storm.
Dropping more than 19 inches of snow in parts of the country.
The deadly storm from Nebraska all the way to Maine. In Chicago tonight, they're now calling this their 5th biggest storm ever. In Detroit, their 3rd largest snowstorm ever. And in Boston, hit again tonight, just days after their historic blizzard. Here in New York, they're blaming this explosion on weather.
19 inches of snow, a single-day record for the month of February, making this Chicago's 5th snowiest storm ever. In Iowa, whiteout conditions made driving nearly impossible. Take a look at this massive pileup. Dozens and dozens of cars crashing near Chicago on the Tri-State Tollway.
If you want to know how much snow has fallen here, just take a look at this. A mountain of snow 3 stories high, all of it collected from the Detroit Airport's runway. Last year's pile didn't melt until the end of May.
Weird light, like straight beam. I have no idea what the heck it is. Oh my god, so weird. All the power is out.
Parts of northern Japan were digging out from nearly 6 feet of snow after massive winter storm dumped record amounts.
Deir Zanun, refugees and snow. No more free passage into Lebanon from neighboring Syria. A visa's required since January. Beirut prefers to call them displaced persons. It can't possibly afford to shelter so many.
Snow may well be expected at this time of year in Sweden, but authorities say so far in 2015 the snowfall is more intense than usual.
Even here records were broken. The city of Luleå reporting its highest snowfall in more than half a century, more than a metre falling in the first few days of the month. In Venice, melting snow, rain and rising tidal waters led to flooding. St Mark's Square transformed into a giant paddling pool. The traffic was at least moving in this part of northern Italy, although driving conditions were treacherous.
A convoy of British cars stuck in snow in northern Spain. Some were trapped in their vehicles here for up to 17 hours.
Reported temperatures of minus 15 degrees Celsius and 40 centimetres of snow was not what they were expecting.
As of now, 44 of Spain's 50 provinces are on alert.
Tornado batters parts of South Florida early today.
The National Weather Service has confirmed that, yes, indeed, a tornado has touched down. Now they're telling us 2 tornadoes have touched down.
If you live along the coast, you may have heard what sounded like a sonic boom this morning. More than 50 people in St. Johns County called 911 after hearing it.
So something shook my entire house. Sounded like an explosion. We all just heard a really loud explosion. Boom!
The rumble, that rumble you don't forget. When you're in an earthquake, you don't forget that rumble.
And that's what it sounded like.
Check out this video from Bordertown, which was inundated by a thick dust storm that reduced visibility to near zero, causing a 6-car traffic pileup.
This is no glass of milk. This fell from the sky Friday. The milky white, dirty rain fell over parts of eastern Oregon and Washington Friday, leaving windows, vehicles, and people coated with the ashy substance. Early speculation pointed to volcano eruptions as far away as Russia.
Has continued in far north Queensland following a wet weekend that saw falls of more than 400 millimetres recorded in some areas. Residents who are now cleaning up say they have never seen anything like it.
Water from the Atherton Tablelands is now thundering down the Barron Falls.
In the west, nearly 6 inches of rain expected in already storm-ravaged area. Neighbors rushing to clean up downed trees and power lines from Friday's storm before the next one hit.
In the west tonight, these images of a wind-whipped fire in Northern California, homes destroyed.
Bostonians are waking up to crippling snow and freezing temperatures after back-to-back-to-back storm.
Look at this satellite image tonight. The storm sweeping across 11 states and pounding New England yet again.
In Boston, 74 inches of snow so far this winter, more than Washington, Baltimore, Philadelphia, and New York City combined.
If this isn't a snow emergency, I don't know what is. Look at all of this snow. And there are mountains of it growing all over the city, not just in one season, but in just over the past 2 weeks.
Those narrow alleys deep into Boston's neighborhoods. Two-way streets have become one-way.
State plows had moved enough snow to fill Gillette Stadium 90 times.
Tonight, they're considering dumping snow in Boston Harbor.
Indonesia is experiencing the peak of its rainy season. Floods have hit residential areas, main business district, even the presidential palace.
This YouTube video was taken on one of the main streets in the north of Jakarta. The scene is replicated in other parts of the city. Almost 6,000 residents are displaced because of the floods, while over 15,000 people have their home inundated by water.
sinkhole is on 163rd Avenue, about a half a mile north of Grand. As you can see, it's about as wide as a lane of traffic, and a car even drove in.
Around 100 homes have been evacuated after devastating forest fires swept through 2 regions in Chile. More than 2,000 hectares of land have been burnt since the fires began on Saturday.
Torrential rain, lightning strikes and powerful wind gusts have battered parts of Melbourne.
Here we're in a tunnel of snow.
Well, yesterday during the storm I figured I'd have to shovel some out eventually, so instead of shoveling the whole thing out and getting the wind to fill it back in, I just started digging in and in, following the path, and eventually I found the car.
Biting cold and driving snow has once again hit America's northeast. It's the 4th such onslaught that residents have experienced in less than a month. 6 coastal states have been buried under record-setting snow, with 50 million people affected. But it's New England that's been worst hit.
They've never seen anything like this in Massachusetts. That's official. Yet another major winter storm makes February the snowiest month ever in Boston's history, and there's still 2 weeks to go.
These are cars down here under the snow.
Boston has seen 1.8 metres of snow since late January and has already set a record for the amount of snow in a single week. The National Weather Service says temperatures are 25 to 30 degrees below normal.
Oh, yes! 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 We got it, baby! Oh, again! Again! That's a twofer! Yes! Again! That's a 3! You gotta be kidding me! I've really picked up and through here. And there's another one! That's you gotta be kidding!
It looks like a war zone, but this is Fayette County in West Virginia, the result of a train carrying more than 100 tankers of crude oil that derailed. The train plowed into the home of a local pastor. The amount of crude oil on American rails has jumped more than 4,000% in the past 5 years. The reason for this? Fracking.
Several of our viewers tell us they saw a bright green flash fly across the sky just before 5 this morning.
It was seen over New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania.
In North Jersey, a picture of a plow truck swallowed by a sinkhole. The driver of the township-owned truck was in the truck when the ground just gave away.
Two powerful cyclones, Marcia and Lam, have smashed into northern Australia.
This was the moment Category 5 cyclone Marcia made landfall, battering towns and cities that have never before been tested by such a powerful tropical storm.
A cyclone of similar strength destroyed scores of homes in the state in 2011. Meanwhile, further north, Cyclone Lam caused widespread damage to remote island communities before hitting mainland Australia.
The storm tore apart homes and cut power to tens of thousands.
This relentless cold is freezing the Great Lakes. This morning, 98% of Lake Erie is covered by ice, and that does not happen very often.
I'm 55 years old. I never felt a February like this in my life.
As wind chills hit -24 in Chicago Thursday, Lake Michigan started to look more like the Arctic Sea. Lake Michigan right behind me here is about 60% frozen over. Yesterday, we didn't break 7 degrees.
Temperatures along the U.S.-Canadian border haven't gone above freezing this month. Behind the falls, what should be a view of gushing water, now a wall of ice. The only time Niagara Falls stopped flowing entirely was in March 1848. The landmark area is on track for one of the coldest Februaries on record, and the ice isn't expected to melt entirely until May.
These windows started rattling.
Very low, subtle vibration.
My first thought was earthquake. We're not on a fault line, so what in the world was it?
Coral Gables Police Department said it's happened 3 times in the past 3 weeks.
Wild day of weather around Kern County. Adrian Saavedra was shaken up as a bolt of lightning appeared right over her head. Oh. The intense light show captured by many around the county. Rain and hail pound the streets northwest of Bakersfield earlier in the day. A tornado captured southeast of Blackwell's Corner. The 50-yard wide twister touched down for nearly 10 minutes. Witnesses near the oil fields couldn't believe what they saw.
Holy shit. It's a huge asteroid or something. Yeah, that's a huge one. It's going apart. And there's a whole bunch of pieces trailing.
A new Arctic chill is on the move.
We have the clouds. It's crazy.
This morning, a bitter snow and ice blast plaguing nearly 100 million Americans. The Mid-South region locked in a frozen vice. The state of Tennessee declaring a heightened state of emergency overnight as the death toll from the bout of grueling weather rises to 21. The town of Monterey, one of the hardest hit. Trees collapsing under the weight of 3/4 of an inch of ice, blocking roads and knocking out miles of power line. More than 40,000 residents in this area still without power.
Lived here some 46-7 years, and worst ice storm ever had.
Denver is in the bullseye as we speak. They're looking at more than a foot of snow in some areas. Scores of flights already canceled.
So far, we've had about 10 inches here where we are. But in some areas around Denver, they're expecting up to 20 inches.
In Colorado, an ambulance having to weave its way through cars stuck in the snow. In Maryland, up to 13 inches of snow trapping buses and leaving hundreds of cars stranded, abandoned, or engulfed in flames. Even first responders needing a rescue. A Virginia highway shut down as firefighters rushed to douse this burning snowplow.
16 states from California to North Carolina under the threat of snow, freezing rain, and sleet this morning. Another Arctic blast is moving into the Midwest and Northeast.
Look at the advisories and warnings all the way from California, Nevada, through Texas, up through parts of the South, Mississippi, Louisiana. Nobody getting away with this.
When's it going to warm up?
Bolivia's government has declared a state of emergency in response to flooding. At least 25 people have been killed and more than 17,000 households have been affected.
Nearly 10 sea lion pups were found dead at Point Dume State Beach, and it's been a devastating year for sea lion deaths. Something similar happened in 2013. That's when the government declared an unusual mortality of sea lions in California. Now this year, they've already had twice as many reports as they did in that year.
A lot of people in northern Utah are waking up this morning wondering what they saw falling from the sky late last night.
A little before 11, we started getting reports about a fireball in the sky.
More than 90 people have been killed in Afghanistan in some of the worst avalanches there for 30 years.
Resource officers are trying to figure out why dozens of birds drop dead out of the sky at the same time in Spring Hill. But they say they've never seen anything like it.
February has turned out to be the snowiest on record here in Rhode Island.
31.6 inches of snow so far this month, making it the snowiest February on record for Providence. With 101.8 inches already on the ground, Boston is just under 6 inches shy of breaking its all-time winter record of 107.6 inches. The average temperature for this month was 18.1 degrees. That currently puts us at number 2 for the coldest February ever.
New Yorkers haven't felt a day this cold in 21 years. In Buffalo, the temperature dipped to -10 Fahrenheit. All-time record lows for February could be felt from Ohio to Virginia, as many as 40 degrees below average.
The eastern U.S. is currently gripped by the most unusually cold air of any region on Earth, based on computer model data showing global temperature departures from average, with temperatures between 25 and 45 degrees below average or more.
This area has had record cold temperatures as low as -7 degrees, and this is the coldest February on record. This magnificent ice sculpture, if you will, underneath it is actually a fountain. You can see how tall it is, about 50 feet high. This fountain has been here since the 1860s, and in that time, it does not reach this height.
One Massachusetts photographer captured some chilling beauty when ocean waves turned to slush. Check out the shot of what he calls a slurpy surf.
Snowy owls are invading New York, and the freezing cold temperatures are to thank for their arrival. So far, at least 7 of the owls have been spotted in the New York City area.